EposVox here, back with another sponsored Plex tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to clear out duplicates and what to look for in them to make sure you get rid of the right ones in your Plex media server. If you're like me and you have acquired a wide variety of media files, you may have duplicates of certain things, especially movies, especially if you rip them yourself like I do. When I'm ripping them myself, I sometimes end up with multiple copies, like a DVD copy and a Blu-ray copy, or if I've found a VHS rip and the normal rip, and if you don't want all of those different copies, you could be seriously limiting what space is available to you on your Plex server. To identify if you possibly have duplicates in the first place, when you're browsing your library, up in the top left corner of an entry, you see where it has a couple squares lined up and then a number, and that shows you how many files it is associating with the singular movie. Now, if you have a movie broken up into chapters for some reason or something like that, that would be part of the reason it shows it too. But for example, this one, I don't even know what this movie is. Arthur Newman says there's 9 copies. So we're going to hit the 3 dots and go to Get Info. And this shows you how many different copies it thinks of the movie there are. Okay, you see here, the problem is not that it has the original movie file of different movies, but it has the sample file. So you always want to get rid of sample files. If you have extra files for your media, those should go, or if they're like featurettes, those should go in featurettes, not in the actual movies folder. You can add those with a playlist to be associated with the movie, like I did in a previous video, which I'll have linked in the video description, or the card icon and things like that. But sample files are the quickest way to screw up the categorization. And you see here, I have 2 different copies of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I can already catch that there. I don't want to. I will delete one of them. So since all of these same sample files are rgb.com/.mp4, I can simply search for that and just delete all instances if I can find it, because I don't want any of those files. So there's a lot of them. We don't want those. Delete them. Yes, delete all 5 files. Now, for that movie, it is going to be gone. So if I go to movies here, I always want to right-click stuff. Click Scan Library Files. It will go through and clear off those extra entries once it finishes scanning at the bottom. Let's go to a different one. For example, the Avengers here. Get Info. What files do we have? We have the Avengers MP4, and then we have one in a folder for the Avengers. It looks like they're the exact same files also. So we'll go to the Avengers right there. Okay. And then we scroll down. The Avengers. Get rid of that. So Plex gives you a nice little indication when you have multiple files associated with the same movie, so that you can try to avoid having that happen. And see, I've got 2 copies of Back to the Future as well. It's a little weird. Why do you got multiple copies? Because I'm dumb. And for example, this one actually, Assault on Arkham, if I'm remembering this right, I have it on the combo Blu-ray DVD rip, but so I ripped it myself. But when I was being lazy and didn't think I was ripping stuff, I also grabbed a download of it. So now I have 2 different copies. The copy that I ripped myself and the copy that I grabbed off the internet thinking that I hadn't ripped it already. So I want to get rid of the copy that I don't want. So I will simply click Delete Files here and delete it straight from Plex, which means you don't have to remote into the server. You can do it from there as long as you're managing the files. And that is super handy, and it will tell you the specs of your file and things like that. And so I can do that for a lot of these DC movies. I went through a bit of ripping them thinking I didn't have them downloaded, and now I do. So I can go ahead and get rid of these copies. Bam. Easy. Now, TV shows show up a little different, and they can be harder to find, so it may be easier to dig through the files yourself. But if you go to a TV show and you go to the episode list, it will actually show you when multiple files are associated with that episode, like here with this Firefly episode 12. And then if we go to Get Info on that, you see we have the ripped copy that just says 1x12 Heart of Gold, and then we have a downloaded copy, which is Season 1, Episode 12, Heart of Gold. They're mostly going to be the same size, but we can go ahead and delete one if we don't. And here you can see it shows the metadata and file information for both files. Now, I don't want the ripped copy, or I don't want the downloaded copy when I have the ripped copy, so I can delete. But you don't want to have to do that, do you? You want an easier way. That's what you want, right? Yes, you do. Here at the top, go up here where it says TV shows, go to episodes, and then under the filter here where it says all, go to duplicates. And it will detect whether or not there are duplicates for specific episodes. And you can see here, Coupe de Ville for All Grown Up seems to have a duplicate. So we go to Get Info again, and you can see, yeah, there's 2 different ones. That's weird. The MP4 is 480 by 300 resolution at about 430 kilobits per second. The MKV is 480 by 360 and about the same bitrate. It's a little weird, but it looks like we don't want the MP4. So I would go ahead and delete that. And then we can go back to that same filter and keep going through these. It looks like we have multiple copies of Family Guy Season 11, Episode 1. So again, go to Get Info. We got an MKV and an MP4. The MKV is 1280 by 720 at about 2 megabits. The MP4 is 360p. We don't want the MP4. So we delete that and go back. What you can also do to speed things up if you don't want that degree of detail, of course, let your video recorder fall on the desk, is to go over here to, for example, we'll go for another Family Guy episode. You can just go right next to it and click Get Info there and then delete it. So again, MKV is 720p, MP4 is 360p. We'll get rid of the MP4. And then you don't have to go back and forth if you don't need to view the specific information as to why you might have it. So then we can go over here, Get Info, delete the MP4, good to go. And then you can continue clearing them off of this list without going back and forth. Pretty handy. And then when you're done, you click where it says duplicates, go back to all, and click where it says episodes, go back to TV shows. You can do the same thing for movies as well. Click up here at the top and go to duplicates, and you can view all the different movies that they think you have duplicates for, which apparently is a hell of a lot for me. So let's check out and see what's going on here. Expendables 2. I know I ripped this one at one point, so I probably have a download copy as well. And actually, again, we don't need to go back like this. I can click where it says Expendables 2 and click Get Info. Yep, you can see there's a downloaded copy and a rip. The downloaded copy is at the bottom here, 1920 by 800 versus, actually they're the same size. So I will just get rid of the obviously downloaded copy and move about my day. Godzilla. Actually, no, let's do Hateful Eight. Get Info, crappy copy. We'll delete that one and keep the good copy. That's all it takes. That is literally all it takes. I wanted to show you the long way first in case you wanted more control, but this way is super easy too. Just remember when you're done, click where it says duplicates and hit all or unwatched or however you sort by it. Now I have quite a bit of a few anime shows episodes that somehow ended up in my movie library that I will need to clear out. But beyond that, it is fairly straightforward to clear it out. And here is a case where you may not want to delete it. I have a dubbed copy and a subs copy. Now, ideally, if it was a great encode, the multiple audio tracks would be available within the same file, and you'd just be able to select between them in Plex. But if it's not encoded that way, then you have 2 different copies. I want to leave these alone. These are 2 different ways to watch the movie. I'm going to leave it there. The same thing, I can't find the exact movie that it was, but I had one where I did rip the VHS copy, and I wanted it there alongside the Blu-ray copy, just in case I watched it on a CRT again. If you are familiar with my channel, you know I watch a lot of, or use CRTs a lot, and just to have a lower bitrate copy in case you really want to stream without transcoding, that is an option. And Matrix, 2 different copies here. One's 1080p, the other one's 1080p. Hey, that works. Fairly simple concept, but I wanted to show you how you can do this in Plex. Like I said, I've had a lot of requests for how to do the various things within Plex, because that's just what's been mentioned is the ease of use, the learning curve of getting into it. How do you do basic things? Here is one such thing, and you have a few different ways to go about it, which makes it easier for you because you can access it different ways, and I think helps make it a pretty solid tool so you can keep up with how many files you have, especially if you're using multiple folders. And that is my biggest downfall here, and why I have so many duplicates is I have multiple folders that I sync to. So I, of course, want not have multiple copies. And when you have multiple folders, you end up moving multiple copies and it gets messy. So hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If it was, smash the like button, get subscribed, and don't forget, I have Plex affiliate links in the video description where you can sign up and get, a free account or a Plex Pass, whichever you would like. And if you get a Plex Pass or gift a Plex Pass to someone else, I get a small kickback and helps tell Plex to keep on telling you how to do Plex things and things like that. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you next time. EposVox is a Patreon-supported production. Our videos would simply not be possible without the support and generosity of our patrons, whom you can see on screen now. If you'd like to join the inner circle and get early access to videos, among other benefits, go to patreon.com/EposVox to learn more.